Hello, I'm Leandra from PaperArtsy, and today I'm going to show you some ideas using the Viva Precious Metal Colour or the Viva Ferro and Terra collection, which are texture pastes. We have a variety of chipboard shapes that work really well with these. So there's little circles and also arches, there's door hangers and quite a few different products that you can use, but they're nice size chipboard pieces to work on. So what's the difference between these two products? Well, Ferro is a very sparkly paste. It's got proper iron or metal filings in the paste, so it has a kind of a sparkly sheen to it. You can see that a little bit in the way the colour is reflected. This comes in quite a few different colours. There's an amazing orange, but generally just think of old rusty things, and that is the colour palette that we're working with most of the time. Now I just smooth it on there. You kind of want it to be probably 1 to 2 millimeters thick. The excess goes back in the pot there. So this one's Ferro. Now the other one that I'm going to show you is called Terra. And Terra is reminiscent of earthen-like surfaces. So think clay, brick, stucco, terracotta, all those sorts of surfaces. And this is much more creamy than the Ferro. It's a little bit wetter, but it's still a texture paste. And again, you can put it on as thinly or as thick as you like. I tend to aim for the 1 to 2 millimeters. So I'm just smoothing it on there with the palette knife. Love this. Okay. Right, so now what we're going to do is stamp into this surface. If you're going to stamp into it, I find stamps like the script stamps work really well. Also, maybe a flourish like this one here is ideal. Anything that contrasts with the linear nature of the script is going to work well today. So we start by spraying the stamp. It needs to be wet, so I'm just going to spray some water onto both of these stamps, and that helps them release out of the product. So we'll start with the script, and you soon find out if you've got your product too thick or too thin on the area. If it's too thick, then when you lift it off it'll sort of squelch up and you won't have a really sharp design line, but on this you can see we've got a pretty nice sharp design line there. So let's just contrast that with a few little flourishes. Oh, look at this, it's great. We'll do another one down here. Love doing this, it's so much fun. And we need to dry that, so you could leave that to dry on its own and it would probably take about 10 minutes maximum in a warm room. Otherwise you can use a heat tool to speed it up. Okay, so this is what the piece looks like once it's dry. I used a heat tool. It's probably better to leave it to dry naturally. Now we're going to work upside down here, which means we're going to start in the dips and then work up to the higher levels. Now I've got some paint on the side. These are Kaiser Colour paints, and they come in really nice kind of colours. They're in a tube, so they're quite easy to dispense, and they're a really good price. They're only £2.50 a tube. So we start with some cut and dry foam, and I'm going to concentrate on getting some of this red down in the dips. So you can see it doesn't really matter if you're going to do this technique and paint on top. It doesn't necessarily matter which colour Ferro or Terra product you start with, because if you're going to cover it up, it's just not as important. Now keep drying it as you go. I find that these paints, they're not highly pigmented, they're not the best quality paints on the market, so you will need to use a couple of layers if you really want that true colour of that red to come through. So there we go. Let's try a bit of that. And then we're going to come on with some blue. So I'm using the darkest colour down in the dips. So it's going to look a bit odd to begin with, but don't worry, it'll all come good in the end. So you really press it down into those dips. And again, it needs to be dried and reapplied to get a really nice blue shade in there. So let's put some more on, second coat, down in the dips. I'm going to put a touch more red back over here again. So you can faff about with this as much as you like till you get it looking how you want it to be. So the trick there is lots of thin layers of paint. Now we're going to lighten and put light colours on the top. So I'm going to this colour here, which is sort of it's called Coastal Blue. It's a very pale blue. And I don't want this colour to go in the dips, so I'm just trying to get a thin layer on top of the foam, and I'm just going to lightly dab it over the top. Now it's starting to look pretty cool. So one layer, dry. Pick up some more of that paint, and again the truer version of the colour will become more apparent, the second layer. And we're going to finish with the palest colour, which is called Eggshell, and just some contrasting areas of that as well. Such a cool technique. Here we go. I think we're just about done. Okay, there we have it. You can see you've got texture and you've got some really nice shades.